Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for another daily talk of stock. And the markets just pushed forward today. So we did have some red, we did have some green. Overall, the heat map looks like a garden. So we had the reds, the greens, about a 50-50 split. To be exact, we had 715 gainers at 40% and 985 losers at 56%. But you know who is a winner today, and that is America and the world, because there's some big news when it comes to the United States and the Middle East. Qatar and the U.S. signed a $1.2 trillion economic agreement during President Trump's visit. And so he went down to the Middle East, he went down to Saudi, went down to Qatar, and made some big deals. And so huge news when it comes to the macroeconomics, and $1.2 trillion that will be entering into the United States economy. And so overall, with this channel, what we have been talking about with Trump, we have been saying how the president, despite having a pretty rough first 100 days, at least when it comes to investor sentiment and then public sentiment, despite all the roughness, despite all the negativity, despite all the bears being so loud, Trump didn't listen to any of that. He is on a mission. He has a plan to fix America and to make the world better and to make trade more fair and balanced. We've seen this with his negotiations when it comes to the tariffs. We have seen that recently he made a deal with the United Kingdom. And then as of today, we have this big news with Qatar and the Middle East. And so this is all about the sanctions. And so overall, things in the world are healing. And that's what you get when President Donald J. Trump is back in office. So we're going to talk about a couple different stocks here. One of them is going to be President DJT's stock. The ticker symbol is DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about one of the favorites on this channel, and that is BigBearAI. We are very bullish on the Big Bear, and the Big Bear had a big day today. So we're actually going to start here with the Big Bear first. I'm going to pull up Big Bear here on screen. So the Big Bear jumped by 9% today. Currently, as I'm recording this video, just about an hour after the market closed, Big Bear is at $3.89, up 9%, 33 cents. So we had quite the push in the Big Bear. It's very important to look at the support and resistance levels in the Big Bear. So when we zoom out and when we look at the recent chart, we have about $4.50 being a major resistance level for BigBearAI. Big Bear had a big green candlestick today and almost tapped up on that level, but was rejected. So it didn't quite reach that $4.50. So when it comes to levels of support and resistance, we are still trying to break past $4.50, and $3.75 would be a current support for BigBearAI. But what is positive in general, when we zoom out, we could see that the Big Bear is on an upwards bullish trend. And so recently, Big Bear has started to build up on this trend, and we've seen some higher highs, and then we'll see us crash back down, but touch on this level of rising support. And so just right there, positive indication that Big Bear still has room to grow. And then when we also look at the RSI and on the MACD, we also still have some room to push up in the Big Bear. And recently, market sentiment has been getting better. As we were just talking about, the president has been making some big deals. And so I think it's always important to look at this chart here when it comes to investing decisions, and just to think about where you are currently in a market cycle. And so when we just look at the overall market cycle, this is where I believe we are currently at, right around optimism or optimism to belief. So just a couple weeks ago, when we were at the lows in the major indexes, many were calling for the ultimate bear market. They thought this was the end of everything and the markets were going to bleed for the continuation of the year. But then we have started to see the great W recovery. So we were in that level of disbelief. We have jumped up to hope. And currently, like I say, I believe that we are in the optimism to belief state. So the markets have started to really rally. And also when we look at the fear and greed index, we did go from extreme fear all the way up to greed. So we are almost now at extreme greed. And so the markets really have been heating up. And overall, again, when we look at the major indexes, we're going to pull up the triple Qs here. We can see that we have been on a great W recovery. The SPY is already back to the point where it has had no losses for the year. And it looks like the triple Q is getting right there as well. So the markets have been starting to recover, but in general, just know as an investor or a trader to proceed with caution, because even though I am a long-term bull on the markets and the great W recovery does look great, of course, things do take time and the market does tend to get a little ahead of itself. So there is still the possibility that we do have a big red candlestick coming in the market soon enough. We may have a big red day, but that is still okay with me, especially when we look at this play right here of BigBearAI, because I believe even if we do have a impending red day coming up, whether it be this week or next week, I do believe wherever we push on the big bear, if there is a big drop off, we will return right back to this upwards bullish trend in the big bear. And so if you don't know what Big Bear is, Big Bear works a lot with AI and defense. They have a lot of big government contracts with the United States government, but this company in general has had quite the fall off these last couple weeks. We know we retracted all the way from $10, and anytime you look up Big Bear in the recent weeks, all you have seen is negative articles about how Big Bear is being sued for the losses in Big Bear. And the reason why there has been all these lawsuits coming against the Big Bear is because of either dishonest or sloppy accounting. They had to do a refiling on their K-12, and so some of their numbers weren't the most accurate, and because of this, investor sentiment was hurt a bit. And then we have all these law firms coming after the Big Bear, but there's a lot of intrinsic value behind the Big Bear. Big Bear, again, works with the United States government, and some joke that Big Bear is like Big Brother, because Big Bear is all around us with their face scan technology when we go to the airports. So if you have flown any time in the last year here in the United States, you will see BigBearAI's face scan technology. It is used at all the airports, and so Big Bear in general has a lot of intrinsic value behind it. This company does have some big quarterlies, so up to $40 million quarterly revenue typically, and again, they have recently secured a lot of contracts, so a lot of future revenue that will be coming in the pipeline for the Big Bear. And so that's the first company that we wanted to talk about. The second one, of course, revolves around our president, and that is DJT. This is Trump Media and Technology Group. And so in general, I want to pull up this meme here on screen because this is so funny. This is exactly how the markets have been reacting this year. Everybody has been all around Trump. So Trump has really had the markets around his finger, and the truth posts that he puts out has really been moving the markets. So we know in recent memory, the two times where he said this was a great time to buy, one of those was mentioned when he had posted on Truth Social. And so Truth Social is playing a big part in the world today, a lot looking at it as a news company. It's not just a news company. It's not just a media company. There's more to it. They're doing big crypto investments and all that. But just on the news part, Trump really is moving the news and showing that Truth Social has a lot of value. So a lot of individuals signing up for Truth Social accounts, and in general, the company is growing. But when we just look at their technical analysis, we could see for the last year, you could see this trend line that I have drawn out, or I'm sorry, not this trend line, but this level of support. This is to show the major support that is in DJT. So over the last year, we have tapped on this level multiple times. This has been a very volatile stock. We've gone up to $30, $40, $50. But each time we did return back to this level here, and we are bouncing right off that level. So in general, for any investors looking to add to your DJT, this may be a low price to do so, as sitting between $21 to $27 is a major support in this stock, and it's generally cheap for what we may see in the future. Again, since election day, we have seen a big retraction down, and that retraction didn't necessarily come just from the stock losing value. Some investors lost confidence, but there was a lot of halting and manipulation. And so there was times where this stock wasn't able to be traded for multiple minutes at a time. And so with DJT, another thing I wanted to mention here is this company up to this point hasn't had the best quarterly revenue. So we could see here they have had some quarters where their revenue was under $1 million, just one quarter here at $1 million. So this company is valued with a $5.7 billion market cap, and at times they're not even making a quarterly revenue of $1 million. So pretty low revenue there. But when we look at Trump Media and Technology Group, what I have been saying all along is yes, their financials haven't been great up to this point, but they are a growing company. And what I believe could really move the financials in the future and where we may see a big pop is this company isn't just, again, about the Truth and a Truth social platform, but they are also doing a lot when it comes to cryptocurrency. And so just in general, President Trump is trying to push us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. We saw the big crypto summit at the White House earlier this year. And then as of most recently, this comes from just April 22nd. So a little less than a month ago, this company did seal a deal with crypto.com to launch some crypto ETFs. And so this is a couple of different ETFs, the Made in America ETF, some Bitcoin ETFs, and overall Trump Media and Technology is getting more into cryptocurrency. And so with the cryptocurrency market, we will see a pop there. Bitcoin just reached up over 100,000 again. And so Trump Media and Technology Group is looking to participate when it comes to cryptocurrency by providing those ETFs. And something I also want to mention here, this is pretty interesting. You do not see this often in the stock market, but as you can see here, Q1, Q2, Q3, but no Q4 for 2024 reported. We go straight to Q1 of 2025, which was announced earlier this week, which I didn't even realize because it was really announced in the shadows of the market. So kind of a silent announce, and their Q4 earnings is actually going to be announced, expected in 13 days. Now, I kind of scoured the internet. I didn't see really much about this, but I did decide to ask one of my best friends what they thought, and that best friend is ChatGPT. And they said that the Q4 2024 earnings report, the delay is likely due to the complexities associated with the merger and its transition to public reporting requirements. Typically, companies are required to file quarterly earnings reports with a specific time frame, but the merger process may have affected the company's abilities to meet these deadlines. So if this confuses you, what this is basically saying is that when this company first came onto the market, DJT, long-term investors will know this, it wasn't always DJT. It was actually DWAC, DWAC, Digital Worldwide Acquisitions Company. And so they started with a SPAC, a merger, and the SPAC has broken to just down to DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group. But that is a big reason why that is. And so then it says the implications for investors. It says a lack of a Q4 earnings report raises question about the company's financial transparency and adherence to regulatory timelines. Investors may be concerned about the reasons for the delay and the potential impact on the company's financial health and stock performance. But myself, I don't quite feel that way because, again, when we look at the earnings aren't historically great. So under $1 million or right at $1 million when it comes to earnings. So with this earnings report being late, this may be a big surprise. And if they come out with a surprise elevated earnings, if they make more earnings, more than $1 million, or just we see something surprising with that earnings report, this will also affect their 2024. So this is going to be a big earnings report for this company. If we see something big, the stock could really pop just off that news in general. But I don't think that there's much loss in this, because if they do report a negative earnings, us DJT investors aren't going to be surprised, as we are already expecting low revenues. So again, my confidence actually raises from this. I think this is just another opportunity for there to be a big catalyst behind TMTG possibly. And so with this last quarter also, again, we were just looking at revenue there, but their losses in general, so their net loss was at 31 million, but it narrowed by 90%. So they have seriously improved when it comes to their losses. losses, and their earnings per share has gotten a lot better too. So when we look at last year and we look at where their earnings per share is, they were at negative $3.61. But with the recent earnings, they have been more around here, more around negative 10 cents, negative 10 cents, and negative 14 cents. So this company is still reporting net losses, but we could see that it has greatly improved. And again, when we mentioned the cryptocurrency, Trump Media and Technology Group is doing a lot as a company. So as we see the cryptocurrency market grow, we will also see DJT grow with that. Intrinsically, we should see the gains, we should see the revenue show up in their balance sheet. And in general, again, this stock moves a lot off of hype. So there is intrinsic value behind it, but the hype will move this stock. So when this stock really starts to see a rally, we could see some massive upside potential. And so again, this stock could be a lot higher than it currently is, but there was a lot of halting and manipulation that did not allow this stock to run. So it's just been coiling up in these levels here. And we on this channel have been anticipating a big pop. Again, we can't say exactly when it will come, but that's why we have been holding for the long term, because the markets in general could be getting a lot more stimulative soon, especially if the Feds decide to cut a rate decide to do a rate cut in the next month or two. And I again just want to show this chart to remind investors of where we are at. We could potentially right now be right at optimism to belief, which means we still have a way to run up to euphoria. So I am personally very happy with what we are seeing in the markets right now. I am happy that investor sentiment is starting to get better. And I am happy on this channel, as we have been talking about, we looked past the forest of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So there was a lot of bears that were very vocal about how they felt in the markets, but we have been taking that opportunity to invest into our great plays and opportunities, and the return on investment the last couple weeks have been pretty crazy. So myself, I am again very happy with where we are at right now in the markets, but I would be curious to hear what everyone else has to say. So please let me know if you're invested in either the Big Bear or if you're invested in DJT or any other stocks, what your opinion is on overall market sentiment, where you think we will continue to go from here. I personally see us continuing on this uptrend, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a red day here in the near future. But big news in general. So please drop that comment, please leave a like, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you all so much for coming to my videos. Anybody who watches, likes, follows along, comments, subscribes, all that. You guys are all appreciated, and that's what motivates me to continue to do this. So thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next video.